everybody. I'm really happy to have the opportunity to speak to you. My name is Giora Gil-Ad. I was born in Israel. I lived till the age of 18. I lived outside of Israel for 10 years in the US and Canada. I spent 23 years in the Israeli army. I'm a retired lieutenant colonel. I was a VP HR for about 10 years, and I left the HR and I became a VP Global Sales. And I was a co-founder of 2 startups that didn't succeed, so I learned how to fail. And for the last 10 years, almost 12, I think, 11 and a half years, I'm managing a small company that does consultative search and headhunting for Israeli companies in the US, in Europe, and in Asia. I really want to tell you that I have a huge amount of respect for you as Olim Chadashim, because first of all, I know how difficult it is to come to a new country. I've done that a few times in my life, but I also know how difficult it is to come to Israel and start your new life in Israel, your new career. And so I salute you as Olim Chadashim. And this is the reason that I'm here at Gvahim, in order to give some of my experience and knowledge and help Olim Chadashim find their new positions in Israel. Finding a job, I don't have to tell you this, that finding a job is always a challenge, even if it's the country you were born in. And finding a job as an Oleh Chadash with language challenges and with cultural challenges is probably much more challenging. Over the years, I've seen many Olim Chadashim, and many of them have found themselves through the Gvahim program, of course, and I think it's a great program. And what I wanted to do today, in the time that Mika and Gvahim have so generously given me here, is I want to talk to you about what I call a change in the paradigm. I think that the way that people are looking for jobs today is not the right way. And I want to give you my thoughts on how to do it in a better way. The situation today is quite simple. For every job that you see on LinkedIn or that you see on a website, you have anywhere between 50 to 100 people that are applying, okay? So if you have 50 people that are applying, statistically, your chance is 2%, and if you have 100 people that are applying, statistically, your chance is 1%. None of these statistics are viable or healthy or good. And so my first thought that I want to share with you is, don't send your CVs, don't reply to advertisements on websites or on LinkedIn. Use them to gather intelligence, okay? Use them to understand maybe something, but don't apply, because the application, the application to the website or to the advertisement, in most cases won't get you an interview. And I think what I'm suggesting to you is really a mindset change, okay? The mindset change is from being passive polite, to Israeli aggressive. And in essence, maybe what I mean in a better way is to be proactive, but do it to the right people. And again, I will tell you in a few minutes exactly what I mean. The first thing, now, if you believe in this, it sounds logical to you that you need to change the paradigm. I don't know how many of you, by the way, have applied or not applied, but in meetings that I have with Olim Chadashim, they tell me I've applied to 5, 10, 15 job advertisements, and I usually don't get any response at all. You need to remember, by the way, that the job, most of the websites and LinkedIn application engines, they're analyzed by a machine. and they look at the CV, and if you don't have 80% of what they're looking for, then usually they won't get back to you, and the machines are usually not open to understanding Olim Chadashim, maybe give them fast track them or help them or so on and so forth. So what I'm suggesting to you is to be proactive and to take your destiny in your own hands. And I've put together a methodology that I think that if you follow it, you will be able to generate opportunities for yourselves. And the name of the game is generating opportunities for yourselves, okay? Not to rely on things that won't work on 1% or on 2%. Generate your own opportunities. Along the way, other than the methodology that I'll share with you in a moment, along the way, I'll give you a few tips. Again, you might already heard them. Some of them might not be new, but the important thing is to understand if they fit you, and if they fit you, to try and utilize them. So what do I mean by change of the paradigm and how to go about looking for a job? The first thing that I would suggest to everybody to do is put together, by the way, before that, what I'm going to talk to you about is based on a lot of research, okay? A lot of research, a lot of analyzing companies, analyzing opportunities, analyzing situations. So you have to, finding work is work, right? Mika, that's what they say. Finding work is a job. So there's a lot of research that needs to be done. Some people like to do research, some people don't like to do research, but in order for this to succeed, you have to know how to drill down and do research. Now, the first piece of this methodology or this map of how to find a job in Israel is really targeting the companies that you think you can bring value to, and you're a good fit for them, and they're a good fit for you. How do you do this? If you're looking for technology companies, then you go to Startup Nation Central, the website. I'm sure most of you know the website. It's a free search engine for. It has 7,000 and something Israeli tech companies. Anybody who's looking for a tech company, Startup Nation Central is the place to do your research, or much of your research. If you're looking for companies that aren't tech, there's other ways to research through AI, through Google, through things. But the first thing that you need to do is open an Excel sheet and put together a list of 50 target companies that you believe are a good fit for your professional capabilities, for your the size, the situation, the product. Everything looks like a good fit. If you're a marketing person, you understand what type of companies you can work with. If you're a salesperson, if you're an engineer, if you're a success person, you need to make a list of 50 target companies, okay? These are the companies that you would like to reach out to. And the number is important, by the way, 50, because 50 gives you some sort of a calibration or an understanding. You'll see what I mean in a moment, but I stress the number 50. I think it's important to start with 50 companies. By the way, if you do have a question, then please feel free to just open your microphone and ask away. I would really appreciate that for two reasons. One, or three. One, it shows me that you're engaged. Two, maybe I can solve and give a good answer. And three, I can stop talking for a moment and drink some water, which is always important for somebody who's speaking straight. So you have a list of 50 targets. Yes.
If I'm pivoting careers, targeting those 50 companies might be a little more not as clear cut. Like, I'm not specifically a marketing person or a salesperson. I'm pivoting from one type of industry to another. So do you have any suggestions for that?
First of all, what are you pivoting from?
My background is in speech therapy. And I worked for a little bit in a high-tech company, but they reorganized and let go my department. So now I'm searching for another job. I was on the data collection team. So
Okay, so it's a legitimate and logical pivot, and what you have to do is you have to target the companies that are appropriate for your new or for what you want to pivot from. We see, by the way, this is a good question, Bianca, because we do see a lot of people that are pivoting as part of their as part of looking for a new position. And it's, some people can pivot to, for example, from being it doesn't matter from being what, but some people can pivot to a success position, customer success, because this is a position which people can do even if they don't have experience, and so on and so forth. So pivoting is logical. It just means that you have to look even deeper into these 50 companies to see if that special position that you want is logical, that it's there. Okay, this exercise, this beginning of this methodology of putting together 50 companies is a challenging exercise. Okay, it's not something easily done. You don't just copy paste 50 names. You have to go into companies. You have to filter them, analyze them, get deep into their product, into their life cycle, understand where they are, and then try to see if this is a fit for you, yes or no. So this is the initial starting phase. This is where everything starts. The 50 companies that you believe that you'd like to see yourself in. By the way, I want to tell you something. Nobody knows better than you what these companies are, even if you don't know yet. Because if you look at recruitment people in Israel, or even if you look at anybody who wants to help you, they won't know how and what to help you if you don't know, if you don't have a list. And by the way, I had this discussion, I think a month ago or so, a similar session. And most of the people some of the people that were in the session today, they have a list, and they're working the list, and they're learning, and they're generating opportunities. So I see that it's a good exercise. It's a healthy exercise. To me, it's critical if you want to change the paradigm and really find a job. So you have 50 companies on an Excel sheet. The next stage, and you've done your research, and you know what they do, and you know how big they are, and you know where their business is, if it's in Israel, if it's global, and you have a basic understanding of what these companies are and where they're going. So the next thing you have to do is you have to look inside of the company and see who the potential hiring manager for you could be. Okay? And again, you have to look at the structure. You have to go to their website and look at the management team. If it's a big company, then you have to drill down into people that might be more relevant for you. If it's a small company, then the management team, the sales, the marketing, the CFO, the customer success, the HR. You have to, if you can reach out directly to them, you have to in essence think, who could be my manager in this company? Who could be my hiring manager in this company? If you're a financial person, it's the CFO. And if you're a marketing person, it's the CMO, and so on and so forth. So you've gone and put next to each company name, you've put down the name of the hiring manager that you would like to have an interview with, somebody that you could think that you could persuade them to meet you and explore an opportunity with you. So now you have the company, you have the hiring manager, and the last thing you need is their email address. Now, email addresses, in many cases, they're quite easy to find. There's a website called Signal Hire. If you want to, they have a few free searches they give you, and then you have to pay some monthly amount. It's not a big amount if you want to invest. But But you should know also that in Israel, at least in the small, medium companies, many of the emails are just the first name at the URL of the company. Okay, the name of the company .com or .io or whatever you see on the website. So it's quite easy to either search for the email and if not, just trial and error, and you'll find the email in a few minutes. So now you have 3 pieces of information. Okay, you have the company name, you have the hiring manager that's potential, and you have their email. Now, what do you do with all this information that you've worked hard to put together? Anybody have any idea?
Contact the...
Now you need to write. Now you need to write a message. Now the critical part of what we're talking about is the message. Okay, the message is the make it break it of success. And I want to give you the recipe for the message. So please write this down, because this is really important, and I'll do it slowly. And if you have any questions, ask away. The message needs to be short, and it needs to touch somebody somewhere between the heart and the stomach. Okay? It has 4 different parts to it, the message. Okay? I wrote them down because sometimes I forget them. But it has 4 different parts to it, and you need to, each part, I will give you the essence, and you need to add to that something also. So the first sentence is, hi, my name is, I'm an Oleh Chadash, Ola Chadasha. I've been in Israel for whatever, and I am at a professional crossroads. Okay, the word professional crossroads is important because it sends a message, first of all, that you're professional, because you're at a professional crossroads, but above and beyond that, it sends a message that I'm not reaching out to you to find me a job. I'm at a professional crossroads, and I would like to speak to you, because we don't know if the person has a job opening, yes or no, because we didn't check, and it's not important to check. Okay, I'll get back to that in a few minutes. Okay, so the first is, hi, Oleh Chadash, I'm an Oleh Chadash in Israel, and I'm at a professional crossroads. Okay, the second statement, or the second sentence, says, I've been following your company for a while now, which is true, because nobody knows how long a while is. And even if you've been following for 5 minutes, it still sounds logical. And I'm really impressed by, and this is a hook. Now you have to go back to your research, and you have to finish the sentence. Now the sentence can be, I'm really impressed by your new product. I'm really impressed by the growth of the company, because you saw that it's grown in the last year. I'm really impressed by what you do, by what the product is itself. And if you write that, you can go to the website. Usually they have a tagline that says what they do. And if you quote it, okay, if you quote the tagline, it's also impressive. I've been following your company for a while now, and I'm really impressed that you turn water into air. Whatever. It has to be good. It can't be from the hip. It can't be something not smart. It has to be deep, because this is going to show the person reading it that you're not a machine, which is always important, but also that you didn't just throw something to him or her. You did your research. You know what this company is about. And it's critical that you find a good hook, and you have to research that. You have to go to the news. You have to, on Google, you have news, right? You have to go to their website. You have to understand what they're doing. It has to be a very strong sentence. The third sentence is the critical one. And this is where you have to sell yourself in one sentence and get somebody interested in meeting you. And it goes like this. I believe I can bring value to the name of the company. Okay, don't forget the name of the company. I believe I can bring value to the name of the company because of my experience, of the companies I've worked in, of my knowledge, of my passion, of my mindset, of my smile, whatever. The last one is just a joke. I didn't mean it really. But you have to sell yourself, okay? And knowing how to sell yourself is something that not everybody feels comfortable with, and not everybody knows how to do. And here you have one opportunity to sell yourself, and it's really critical that you connect it to the company, okay? And make it really, really smart and sharp and focused, okay? I believe I can bring value because due to, and explain, short, focused, and sweet. And the last sentence would be great to set a virtual meeting and explore the opportunities you might have. That's it. Now, what will this email do? It does a few things. If it's written well, really well, and the person has an opportunity, don't send your CV, by the way, with this email. No CV. If they have an opportunity, because you've written to the hiring manager, then, and the email is good, then they'll either talk to you or they'll ask somebody to talk to you. If they don't have an opportunity, could be, maybe they're not hiring. If they don't have an opportunity and it's written well, they might send it to a friend and say, listen, I just got this email. We don't have any opportunities, but it sounds interesting, so I'm forwarding it to you. And I've seen that happen. So this is in essence the change of the paradigm. The change says that you're reaching out proactively without really getting into, do they have opportunity? Are they hiring? Yes, no. Because this yes, no thing doesn't help you. What you can do is, if you see companies that you want to work in, that they're advertising, then do the same thing. Put them in the list of 50 companies, write to the person, and write directly. Much more powerful. Then you can say, by the way, I saw that you have an opportunity. You can say that. I see that you have an opportunity as a. At the end, you could say, would be great if we could set a virtual call to discuss the opportunity that you have, this and that, and quote the name of the opportunity. Now, during this research and this work, and again, put this all in Excel because it needs to be managed. There's a few things that you need to do, and you can add this to the Excel, by the way. Mika, you might want to format an Excel like this as part of the Gvahim, workshops and training and stuff like that, and format some sort of Excel, because the Excel, you also have to have a column for follow-up. If nobody's replied to you, or if the email bounces, then you have to remind them. And a week down the road, you can remind them. LinkedIn Connect, another important part of this journey. When you have the 50 companies and the 50 hiring managers, go to LinkedIn and do a LinkedIn Connect, and don't write the whole spiel that I said now, but just write something nice like, I'm an Oleh Chadash, Ola Chadasha, and I'd be really happy to connect with you. So if they connect with you, it's a plus. It means that maybe they're nice people, maybe they're interesting, maybe this, maybe that. So it's always good. On the Excel, write down LinkedIn Connect, done, and write down if you've gotten an answer, yes or no, okay? Wait, I see that some people are asking questions on the chat, and I'm not looking at the chat every minute. So I'm gonna stop and look at the Apollo is a great tool to find emails. I agree. Need a blueprint for this, Rachel. I agree also. Vitalia, I tried to write such emails as follow-ups to meetups where these companies participate. I received 0 responses, not even thank you, not relevant, but just 0. Maybe that's because too many people are using this technique by now and guys got tired of it. Okay. First of all, it depends, Vitalia, on the message. If the message is good, you'll get more response. And follow-ups to meetups is something else. I'm saying target people that you and them are on the same wavelength. But you could be right. Vera, I believe I can bring value to your company because reasons fine. And now what? And the now what is the last sentence. I think that I hope that I've concluded. There's a call for action. Okay, the end of the email is a call for action. It would be great to meet and discuss the opportunities. Let's see if I've answered all the questions. Israel, will, instead of asking for about open positions, perhaps request to understand the industry better and get some ideas on my job search. That's also a good direction. I agree with that. I think that I'm trying to be concrete. But you can do the same thing and ask somebody to give you some industry understanding. I think it's stronger to write and ask for a meeting regarding an opportunity. And maybe, maybe Gil or anybody can write an example of this email. Okay. I'm happy to write one. Okay. Good questions. Let's continue.
Sorry, Giora, can I ask a question?
Yes, yes.
My name is Philip. I'm from Haifa, so a little bit to summarize what we heard. But now, so if we see the open job position on LinkedIn, for example, the better way is not apply over there. So the better way is go through the research, through the steps you just described right now, or the better way is to use both ways, to apply position on LinkedIn and then try to reach out to the contact person and go through these steps. So what's the better?
So first of all, it's a good question. I don't think there's a right or wrong here. I don't think there's better or worse. I just when you reach out to the website on a position, then you have between 1% and 2% potential of getting a reply or getting the job. And I think that direct to the hiring manager will get you more traction. That's my thought. I don't like I just don't like the odds. The 1-2% just worries me. Okay, it's not, if it was 50%, I'd say fine. But I think with a good message, okay, what I'm seeing with a good message is anywhere between a 15 and 20% response rate. Okay, with a good message, a really good message. Okay, that you've invested time. You know how to write a good message, and you've got it right, and you've talked about the company. You'll get a 15 to 20% response rate. The target. The goal at the end of this is to get a meeting, right? That's the goal of everything we're talking about, to get a meeting, in front of other people. There's another 20, 30 people behind you that are looking for the same job. Israelis, Olim Chadashim, it doesn't matter. You have to get in front of them. And I think the goal is to write the right message that will make this happen. Listen, before when you do this to 50 companies with 50 emails, you'll know if it's a good or bad suggestion. Okay, I think if you get 15, even 10%, but 15%, 20% response rate, and out of that you get 2-3 face-to-face or virtual discussions, then I think that you're on the right direction. I think so. I don't know. That's what I believe. I don't know. I wouldn't. I think sending your CV with another 100 people is not going to get you too far. A few more things that I wanted to cover, and again, please feel free to ask questions. I'm kind of looking at the questions in the chat, but I'm probably not in control of all of them. And Vera, I agree with you. With any lead generation, most people won't respond, but some will eventually. I think it's about the message. I think the message here is critical. Listen, I get tons of mails every day. Okay, I get tons. I get tons of mails every day. I respond to those who I see write something that's intelligent, that's smart, that's sharp, that is interesting. And to all the ones that write me machine messages or LinkedIn campaigns, I delete, because I don't have the time to deal with all of this. So I think everything I've just told you, like in 30 minutes, everything is about the messaging. The messaging is critical. If you write a good message, if you've done your research and you found the right companies and the right hiring managers, and you write the right message, you'll get 15, 20, 25% response rate. And I think that's critical. One more thing, just before I let you ask your question, is if you don't find the right hiring manager in the company, sometimes the structure might be unclear. Sometimes you're not sure. If you don't find the right hiring manager, then go to the HR and find the VP HR or the talent acquisition person, and write to them. Okay, you can. It's a bit less than the hiring manager directly. I like going directly to the hiring manager. But if you don't find for some reason the right hiring manager, then do the same thing and go into the HR. Yes, you wanted to ask a question, Alexandra, Lara.
Yes, I have a well, my background is not exactly related to high tech. I got a boot camp in data science, but pragmatically, I would be try in other markets such as energy or in environmental issues. Is similar the dynamic in other markets? You know, keeping in contact with important people in the companies is the same as you propose? Is similar the?
I think first of all, I think the answer is yes. I think so. Second of all, there's a lot of things to be said about Israel, but one of the things that you can say is that usually most people are open, even if they're important people, they're open to, the hierarchy isn't a big thing in Israel. Okay, people talk to people, and everybody can speak to everybody. And if you write a letter to the Minister of Defense, well, now he's in a war, but before the war, then you'd get an answer. So I think the answer is yes. But you won't know before you try. By the way, you did are you a technological person in your background?
Well, I studied a bachelor in science in chemistry. I have a good mathematical background, but the study in data science is really recent. He has a better background.
Hopefully. I studied physics, got a PhD in that, got a master's in risk management, also did the boot camp. And data science, stayed on as an occasional lecturer for the boot camp. But I do need to grow my portfolio. So how feasible would it be for, let's say, just to apply for junior positions and so forth? I really would like to go into tech, but I have not done as much tech as I would like up to now. I worked again in energy and then as administrator in tech.
I think that the reason I asked about the technological background is that if you have a technological background or understanding, I think that one of the things that I would explore is the DevOps world. You know, the DevOps world? Mm-hmm. Because Israel, there's a lot of DevOps positions that are open. It's a growing world. It's a growing need, this DevOps thing. And I'm sure that there's 6-month DevOps schools that if you have a technological background, it's not a you can do a 6-month DevOps school, and they help you find a job. And I think if you want to get into tech, I think it's a great way to get into tech.
That sounds terrific. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
When you say DevOps, I'm sorry, I'm using it as a user, but when you say DevOps, it means people that are working or developing DevOps, right?
DevOps are the people that work around the code. They're not writing code. They support the they have to understand the code and play with it, but they don't write it. So it's a different DevOps aren't engineers, okay? You can be a DevOps without being an engineer.
So you're meaning DevOps in general, not the product called DevOps, right?
No. I'm meaning that there's a position called DevOps.
Yes.
And it's the people who support the code, but they don't have to be tech people. They have to have tech understanding. That's why I asked you about your tech understanding. Going back to the methodology, in essence, what I suggest is to reach out to companies that are advertising, not through the advertisement, but through the methodology that I talked to, and reach out to those who aren't advertising. So you're covering both sides of the coin. Another thing that I would suggest to you to do is build a network. Okay, build a LinkedIn network. I'm sure that all of you know and understand this. It's important to build a network. The more you have people on your network, the more opportunities that you might see. It's always good to have more than 500 people on your LinkedIn network. You know why, right? Everybody knows why? Because LinkedIn counts up to 500, they count. It says you have 399 or 427, which is low. When you reach 500, it stops counting. It says it doesn't count. It doesn't show under your name. Look in your profile. If you have under 500, it says how many you have, and if you have over 500, it doesn't say anything. And it's important to have. By the way, when you do the messaging, use AI, use Claude or ChatGPT or Bard, or use somebody, because they can help you with the messaging a lot. So you can write the message, put it through the AI, and work with it. Another thing is that the follow-up. The follow-up is important. What do you write in a follow-up? And in a follow-up, I think it's important to do a follow-up, because some people are busy, some people don't see or read all these emails, and you can write some sort of message. I understand that you're busy. Would be great if you or someone from your team could spend 15-20 minutes with me for a short chat to explore. There's a format to write a follow-up. Again, I'll be happy to put together these messages for you and help you, and you can feel free to send me your messages, and I'll go over them before. What I'm suggesting, in essence, is that you be aggressive in a nice way. Okay, be aggressive in a nice way means show that you have chutzpah, show that you're not worried about talking with people, and do it in a nice way. I think that that will get you a lot of points. Yes, Sonia, you wanted to ask something.
First of all, thank you for a great lecture. And the second question, is it a problem to attach my CV in the email? Because normally when I'm sending email to hiring manager or HR, it's because I already saw relevant position. And so I'm like, hi, I'm Sonia, I'm Hadasha, I'm a data analyst with 3 years of experience, headline my skills for this position, that I'm very interested in this role, and link to the role. Then why I think that I'm a good fit for the company, I'm impressed by company culture, product, and etc. And then at the end, call to action, I would be happy to talk. How can I bring the value to the company? is it a problem to attach to my CV because all my experience it's easier to
No,
look?
so I'll tell you, I think that if there's a specific position that you've targeted a position with an advertisement, then you can send your CV. That's fine. If there's no specific position, but you're still looking for an opportunity in the company, then I wouldn't send the CV. I think that's the difference between the two types of opportunities. Okay, because if there's a position, okay, fine, the CV is important. But if there's no position, then don't be presumptuous. Don't pushing the CV into somebody's face with no position. I'd say is less good. But yeah, I think that's the way I would go. If there's a position, yes. If there's no position, then just write the mail. Just write a good message. I want to talk for a moment about interviews. And I think that the goal of what we're talking about here is to get an interview. And interviews, you need to ask yourself a question in the interview. Do I know how to sell myself in an interview? How do I open an interview? What's my value proposition? What's my selling point? Okay, how do I sell myself in an interview? Because everybody's selling themselves. How to stand out, okay? All these things need to be rehearsed before the interview. And in the interviews, one of the things that you'll see sometimes, people will ask open questions. Tell me a bit about yourself, right? You've heard that question before in interviews, right? By the way, a lot of people don't know how to interview. Just as a FYI, they're not good interviewers. But if somebody asks you an open question, tell me a bit about yourself, this is the best opportunity to sell yourself. A lot of people don't take this opportunity in the right format, and they say, okay, well, I went to kindergarten here, and I went to grade 1, 2, and 3 here, and stuff that's not important. They're telling a story that's not relevant. So when you prepare yourself for an interview, you need to really write down what you want to sell and how you want to sell yourself. And when somebody asks you, tell me a bit about yourself, this is the opportunity for you to sell yourself in the best way, okay? Talk about your achievements, talk about your successes, talk about your experience, talk about a bit about who you are and what brought you to Israel. Talk about things that are deep, not about things that are not relevant. And if somebody asks you this open question, then really use it to sell yourself in the best way that you can. One of the important things in interviews is to research before you come to an interview. Always, 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 always research who you're interviewing with. Look at their Facebook, look at their Instagram, look at their LinkedIn, do a LinkedIn connect with them before the interview. Understand the product of the company, do a lot of research before you go to an interview. It'll help you in the interview, and prepare a list of questions that you want to ask, because the questions are almost as important as the questions that the interviewer will ask you. Remember that, because a lot of people will say, I had this interview and I was asked some really interesting questions. They're very impressed. Two things will impress an interviewer. One is the research you've done on the company, what you know, and two is the questions you ask. Those are probably the most impressive things that you can see that people will see in an interview. And I'll make a deal with all of you. How many people are on this call now? 73. Whoever uses the methodology to find, as we discussed it earlier, 50 companies with a good message. Whoever uses the methodology and gets an interview from the companies you reach out to, from the people you reached out to, I'm happy to do a simulation or a preparation for your interview one-on-one. Okay, so on LinkedIn, you have all my contact details, and you're welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn. But on LinkedIn, you have my email and my phone number. When you get an interview from this methodology, then if you want to do a preparation or a simulation for your interview, then tell me, and I'll be happy to spend some time and help you get prepared in a good way.